So, a while back, I posted what my current top 10 anime were. Here's the full list. I've watched a ton of the bigger animes such as any of the big three, Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, Gintama, or Attack on Titan, just to name a few. I'll leave a link to my MyAnimeList profile to see what I have watched if you're interested in that. It will be in the description. Now I am back to give you some reasoning as to why each of these animes are rated so highly and are in my top 10. I am going to include the ratings for each anime on MyAnimeList. MyAnimeList isn't a good indicator if an anime is good or not. You need to make that judgment for yourself. I'm just including so you can see what others did think of it. MyAnimeList ratings are largely a big joke, especially the reviews. Everybody does rate things differently, so that affects the ratings tremendously as well. I do have a series where we literally make fun of MyAnimeList ratings. It's called Overrated, Underrated, or Fairly Rated Animes. I'll link the videos in the description if you're interested in watching them. There is a potential for spoilers ahead, but I will alert you in advance for when it comes up. For the most part, I'm going to try to keep this spoiler free though. Just making its way into the top 10 is It Invaded. It's an anime that is either not well known or at the very least isn't talked about enough. It is rated at a 7.85 out of 10 on MyAnimeList. I'm going to assume that most people have not watched it, so I will give a short summary of It Invaded. It Invaded follows a former detective, Naharisago, who finds himself on the other side of the law. He is able to jump into the idwells of people with the help of extremely advanced machinery. More specifically, he is able to jump into the psychological plane of a person's drive to kill, helping to prevent further murders. Upon entering those idwells, he becomes a new person with a superior detective mindset. He has one purpose in those idwells: to discover the mystery of Kairu's death. Both the detective and psychological anime genres are two of my favorite genres, especially if they are done right, and I think It Invaded does them perfectly. You get to see the sinister side of the murderers, and there's multiple different interesting plot lines happening at once. I was enthralled by the storytelling and binge watched the 13-episode anime in one day. I do think that the ending is a bit easy to anticipate, but even if it is easy to guess the ending, if it is written well, I can definitely overlook it, and I do think It Invaded does it well. As a small quick side note, the opening for the anime is definitely an absolute banger and is easily in my top 10 anime openings. Next up at number 9 is Death Note. This anime is the exact reason why I do have a spoiler warning in the beginning of this video. Most people have watched or at least heard of the premise of Death Note, so I'm not going to give a summary for it. It is rated an 8.62 out of 10 on MyAnimeList. Death Note is the perfection of the psychological and suspense types of animes if it just ended right after L's death. I felt like up until that point it was utter perfection. I love the back and forth cat and mouse games between Light and L, two masterminds. While Death Note does get worse after L's death, which occurs in episode 25, I don't think that is a big drop off. I thought the ending was solid, not amazing, but it definitely was pretty good. I did not like Nier, but part of that was due to the fact that he was L's replacement and used all of L's hard work to capture Light and his lies. I would have easily put Death Note at a 10 out of 10 up until L's death, and it probably would have been my favorite anime of all time. But since it does continue on for 12 more episodes afterwards, and definitely does have a slight decline, I have to put it at a 9.25 out of 10 rating, slotting into the number 9 spot. At number 8, we have Anohana, one of the saddest animes I have ever watched. Who knew hearing somebody say, "We found you," could make a grown man cry his eyes out for several minutes. It is rated an 8.33 out of 10 on MyAnimeList. The story, if you haven't watched it, is about several childhood friends who grew apart over the past several years. Jinta sees what he thinks is a hallucination of a long-dead friend named Menma. As the story goes on, the group of friends slowly get drawn back together to help lay their friend Menma's spirit back to rest. Like I said earlier, this anime is an absolute tearjerker and a must-watch for everybody. The opening song is definitely one of the more iconic anime openings in my opinion, because it too also gives off that similar feeling of sadness. My personal rating for Anohana is a 9.5 out of 10. At the number 7 spot is Kaguya-Sama Love is War, which is one of two animes which is still ongoing. I have not watched season 3 yet, so this is only season 1 and 2, and it is actually already in my top 10 off of 2 seasons. I've heard very good things about season 3, so I'm ecstatic to watch it. And as of making this video, it is the highest rated thing on MyAnimeList. The seasons are rated as follows. Season 1 is an 8.4 on MyAnimeList. Season 2 is an 8.65. And then season 3, as of writing the script, was a 9.17, the number 1 spot. I personally like season 2 more than season 1, so I do enjoy that slight uptick in rating. Takes a joke approach to love, comparing it to war. Kaguya and Shirogane both love each other, but neither one really wants to admit it. They're too proud and they believe whoever admits their love first will lose. Kaguya and Shirogane spend the entire time scheming up elaborate ways to make the other confess their love. Despite both of the lovers being great characters, my favorite character as of right now is actually Yu Ishigami. The depressing and self-loathing humor he exhibits is among the funniest content I've seen in any anime. Kaguya-Sama Love is War is also probably one of the funnier animes I've seen, period. This anime has the potential to move up or down in ranking, but I definitely could see it being number 3 on my list. It is that good. As I stated earlier, I haven't even caught up with the anime. I heard there's even enough material for way more seasons, and I think a movie just got announced recently. So there is tons of potential for this show. Kaguya-Sama is easily right now a 9.5 out of 10 for me, only for 2 seasons. If I really enjoy the 3rd season, I'm going to put it as a 10 out of 10. The second anime that is still ongoing is Link Click at number 6. I rarely hear anything about Link Click and is one of 6 animes I currently have at a 10 out of 10. It is also rated very highly on my anime list at a 8.79. This Donghua or Chinese anime is about 2 guys who can time travel through pictures. Liu and Chang use their powers to help grant clients' wishes, but also have to be aware that they can change the course of history if they change too much about the past. Cannot wait for the 2nd season of this anime, which has been announced that it is in production. Link Click does a great job with the whole time travel power and does a great job keeping you on the edge of your seat the entire time, with most episodes ending in cliffhangers. It is another anime that I grinded in one day. I am a bit worried about the 2nd season, however, because they introduced a villain with a power that seems ridiculously overpowered. I have no idea how Liu and Chang can stop them without ruining the story in the process. Now we're in the top 5 finally. At number 5 is Your Lie in April. Rated at an 8.66 out of 10, I enjoyed this anime more than just the fact that it is extremely sad and made me cry at the end. I felt like this anime was deeper than just that. I enjoyed the fact that you get to see the main character Kosei affected so many different people's lives when he was younger. He influenced several people, including Kaori, to become the best musicians that they possibly could. Even seeing Kosei grow throughout the anime was nice to see, overcoming his trauma in the past. And although I knew the sadness was coming at the end, the final letter definitely still hit me. The anime has a good story with decent pacing and enjoyable characters. The musical pieces played throughout were extremely enjoyable as well. Your Lie in April has one of my top 10 favorite openings in anime. Every time I hear the first opening Hikaru Nara, I have to blast it at full volume. Having it reminds me of the enjoyment I had watching this show. At the number 4 slot is Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai. I started watching Bunny Girl Senpai because everyone praised the waifus in the show, with Futaba being my favorite actually of them. Sorry, Mai. While Mai was enjoyable, I enjoyed Futaba's screen time the most. The waifus are good, but none of them were actually my favorite character in the show. My favorite was easily Sakura, the main character. I think he and I are pretty similar people, so that is definitely a big reason why. I'm not trying to be that guy where I say I'm a badass who pulls mad girls. At the beginning of the show, at least, he's a person who likes to keep to himself, has an extremely small friend group, and has a good sense of humor, which I do think all are true of me as well. If push does come to shove, he and I can both exit our comfort zones and get stuff done still. Now, going back to the show, the supernatural aspects of the anime, aka puberty syndrome in the anime, kept me interested throughout. I feel like the anime had it all. Interesting story, good enjoyable characters, touching scenes, and funny moments. I've heard that the movie is even better than the show, but I haven't watched it yet. Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai is rated at an 8.27 on my anime list. At number 3 is No Game No Life, which is rated an 8.1 on my anime list. Let's take a moment of silence for the fact that this anime will never get a 2nd season. The biggest reason why I enjoyed No Game No Life was the general premise. It takes a very interesting idea of playing games and puts its own twist onto it. I like that even a fairly basic game like chess turns into a mini warlike fight. The high stakes all or nothing strategy in all the games played kept me satisfied the entire time. Give me an anime where characters fight intellectually against one another and I'll probably enjoy it at least a little, and I did so with No Game No Life. And if you've been paying attention to this video, a lot of these are psychological in nature. I enjoyed the characters, with Sora being my favorite. The brother-sister tag team of Sora and Shiro, or Blank as they call themselves, are really enjoyable. They always know that they have each other's backs, which is another nice touch. The world building really drew me in, knowing that there were huge territories with many different races. The art style and animation are among my favorite of all time, and for me, it has the best opening this game. At number 2 and rated in the top 10 on my anime list at a 9.08 for season 1 is Steins, which was my favorite anime of all time at a point before I watched the current number 1. If you ask me my favorite anime, in fact, I would say both Steins and Kaguya-Sama. It is that close. If you told me to pick one, however, I would lean slightly towards Geass. Steins does start off fairly slow, with the first episode having a good reason to continue watching. As the show went on, I enjoyed it more and more. I feel like it does have the best overall story out of any anime that I watched. I also do think it has the best characters. I enjoyed almost every single character in the show. Okabe, Makise, Mayuri, Suzuha, Daru, Maho, and Ferris were all top tier characters. The only character that I hated was Mooka. First season is my favorite of the two. I still really enjoyed season 2, which is rated at an 8.52 on my anime list. Season 2 takes a different approach than season 1. It is technically called season 0 if you're gonna be a stickler about that. Season 2 is based off an alternative world line where the main character Okabe does not save one of his friends at the end of season 1. I don't want to spoil it because I am pleading with you, please go watch Steins Gate. It is fantastic. I give both seasons a 10 out of 10. And finally, at the number 1 spot is Code Geass. Going into Code Geass, I was not expecting to like it as much as I did. Seeing that it was a mecha anime, I assumed that it was going to be an 8 out of 10 at best. But man, was I wrong. It was my first mecha anime, and I thought I wasn't going to enjoy the genre, but I've watched a couple of them since then, and they're all enjoyable for the most part. Season 1 is rated an 8.7 on my anime list, while Season 2 is an 8.91. I'll start off by saying Lelouch is the GOAT MC. He's the greatest main character in anything I've watched. He's my favorite character of all time. Every episode I was waiting for his next chess move that he would do. I like that he knew the sacrifices of every move he made and made the ultimate one at the end, becoming the ultimate villain, having everyone casting their hate towards him so that humanity would come together. He wanted to create a safer world for his sister Nunnally, and did so by ushering in a period of peace with his assassination. Lelouch gave up his own life so that his sister and everybody else in the world would have a better life. Kaguya-Sama's ending was my favorite ending for any show or movie ever. I think it's going to be nearly impossible to dethrone Kaguya-Sama or Steins Gate from those top 2 positions. Something special will have to come out in order to knock those down a peg. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Tell me what you thought of this video. Tell me your favorite anime in the comments. I'll see you guys in the next video.